the Oak Tree meeting at Santa Anita Park. Breeders' Cup World Thoroughbred Championships. And next up, the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf. Tate's Creek at 5-1. Heat Hayes is 7-1. Islington 3-1. Musical Chimes a 4-1 shot. Voodoo Dancer at 6-1. And the others are double digits in the latest odds. And Charlie, it's been a surprising day so far, as the Breeders' Cup always is.
Well, it has been a wonderful day so far. And what's interesting is that the Europeans have done so well thus far, and I think they're going to be a very strong factor in this filly and mare turf. These fillies are all very, very tough. Everyone says that this is not only the toughest card on Breeders' Cup Day, this might be one of the toughest filly and mare turf events they've seen anywhere in the world.
Very wide open. And for Bobby Frankel, it has to be a disappointing day so far. The favorites have all failed to win for him to get that 24th Grade 1 victory. He's coming right at him with 3 in this race, though. I
know it. He is, but the Breeders' Cup has always been a little tough on Bobby. It really has. But he's got 3 very solid fillies in here. But I'll tell you, I think the European fillies will be very tough here. And I think that Neil Drysdale's filly, Musical Chimes, who's just been transferred here from Europe, I think Islington and Musical Chimes will be the ones. And Bobby may have another difficult race.
Musical Chimes has had a trip over this course and was fast closing behind Tate's Creek in her last race.
She ran her last quarter in something like 21 seconds. It was a phenomenal finish, and she just missed. But the filly who she didn't catch was one of Bobby Frankel's fillies, Heat Hayes. So it will be, again, a big showdown between the two of these.
Now, this turf course at Santa Anita is very unique. Downhill turf course, the only right-hand turn in American racing. And they come to a point there where they have to jump over the dirt portion of the track. Not jump over. You don't want them to jump over it, but they cross it to get to the stretch of the turf course.
They come down that hill, and they've been on the turf all the way, and then all of a sudden, here's this big, wide expanse of dirt, and they tend to want to kind of leap into it a little bit, and it can cause them to lose their footing. Then they're over in a flash, and then they're back on the turf. But it can be very disconcerting to a horse who's never seen it before, and sometimes even ones who've raced on it still have trouble with it.
We'll keep an eye on that a little later on. Right now, let's check in with Kenny.
All right, Tom. With me is Sir Michael Stott, who trains Islington. And I noticed you were sponging her off a bit just a few minutes ago. She didn't like the heat earlier this week. I mean, who does in this 98-degree weather? But how's she responding?
Yeah, well, she always gets a little bit warm in all of her races, you know, once you come to tack her up. And she'll certainly get warm today.
And last year, you had all kinds of problems. You finished 3rd, but you look, it was steadied repeatedly throughout. I know you're hoping for a much better trip today for her here.
Yes, I don't think we had all the luck in running last year, and it was a pretty creditable performance. So we're hopeful today. She seems in good shape.
All right, good luck, and we'll all try to stay dry here as well. Now let's go over and check with Mike Battaglia.
Thanks, Kenny. And Donnie Von Hemel is the trainer of Bien Nicole. And Donnie, we just had a Kentucky horse win, a horse coming from Turfway Park. Bien Nicole's coming in from Keeneland, another Kentucky horse. That one had speed. You got speed. See any parallels there?
Well, let's keep the trend going, and hopefully we'll have a good trip.
She ran a huge race at Keeneland last time. That opened up, what, like an 11, 12-length lead? Is that your strategy again?
Well, I think we'll have to kind of see how the race unfolds. There's a couple of horses in here that could show some pace, and our mare, we'll rate off them if she has to, but we'll make sure that if it's a slow pace, we'll probably be up there.
Even the time before at Arlington when she got beat in what was the Beverly D that she ran in, she ran a huge race that day.
We were thrilled. Her last 3 or 4 races have just been great, and we feel like we're coming in the race in good order and think we've got a big chance.
And Donnie Von Hemel knows his way around a good horse, and this one is a good one. Make no mistakes about it. She's going to be in front or close to the lead. Good luck, Donnie. Tom?
All right, Mike, and just looking at, she was a long shot on the odds board, and speaking of odds, what are the odds of this? We spoke earlier this week with 87-year-old Charles Schick, who lives down in St. Petersburg, Florida, a man who in his earlier days broke to saddle both Seabiscuit and War Admiral. What are the odds of that? He said that Seabiscuit was slow and easy, just wanted to sleep and eat, but not difficult to be around, hard to get to work, and War Admiral sort of picked up on things right away. And we asked him if he could separate the two. They, of course, were engaged in that great match race back in 1938, and Charles Schick claims that had War Admiral gotten a better ride, maybe with Jerry Bailey up, he would have won the race. That there wasn't a head separating the two, War Admiral and Seabiscuit. Some of the great stories that surround the sport of thoroughbred racing. Jerry Bailey waiting to take his place aboard Heat Hayes, again teaming up with Bobby Frankel.
And there is Heat Hayes. She actually ran against Dimitrova. It was Tate's Creek who held off Musical Chimes. I stand corrected. But Heat Hayes has been a very solid filly in her own right. As you say, one of Bobby's 3. And Jerry Bailey is in such a zone right now, Tom. He set a single season earnings record of 20 million plus, and he's done it 3 years in a row. I mean, he is just in an echelon by himself right now in these American riders.
And Bobby Frankel must be wondering what he has to do to win a Breeders' Cup race today. He's had 3 favorites, all have failed to win, and he has a 3-pronged entry for this filly and mare turf, not coupled in the betting, but 3 horses saddled by Bobby Frankel in this $1 million race.
You mentioned he got married a few weeks ago. He's leaving on his honeymoon tomorrow morning. His bride Anita may not want to go with him if things don't change.
He may not be in a very good mood, huh? And the horses making their way around the paddock. That's Tate's Creek. The yellow ribbon was the race she won, holding off Musical Chimes. And Patrick Valenzuela will have the mount on Tate's Creek. So we're getting ready for our next race, the filly and mare turf. It's over 1.25 miles on the grass. We'll be right back.
I believe that all horses, whether champions or not, deserve the best possible care. An organization that shares my belief is the Grayson Jockey Club Research Foundation. The purpose of this foundation is to fund veterinary research to improve the health and soundness of horses of all kinds. Anyone who loves horses can become a foundation member simply by paying modest annual dues. Please make note of the address or email and ask for more information today.
We're back at Santa Anita. The riders are up. There was a problem with the saddle pad on Long Crest. That was the reason for the delay. We thought they were taking a long time, and we're told that was the problem for the delay. As we update the odds, Tate's Creek at 5-1, Heat Hayes at 7, Islington 5-2 favorite, Musical Chimes at 9-2, Voodoo Dancer 7-1, and the others are double digits. Mike.
Tom, with Kim Delaney, star of the hit show Philly for a while, now back on NYPD Blue, and
Right.
she's just a racing fan. She's a friend of Bob Levy's. He bred Dimitrova, and she's here as a fan today. And what do you think of the proceedings so far, Kim?
Oh, I love it. I mean, it's a lot of fun. We've won a little bit so far.
Yeah?
We're doing okay.
Gambling, you've won a little bit?
A little bit.
Would you like to come on and be a guest handicapper? Because we're doing horribly.
I just kind of, I just pick out the ones I like, the names I like.
What do you know about Dimitrova?
Bob does better stuff.
You're right.
He bred, I just know that Bob bred her.
She's coming off a couple of big wins.
Yes,
Are we betting our money?
absolutely.
How about what should we look for in NYPD Blue coming up?
There's some fun stuff with Dennis Franz and some interesting stuff with the serial killer we're looking after for a few episodes.
Thank you, Kim. We appreciate you coming on. Kim Delaney, thank you.
Okay.
Tom?
Careful, Mike. You could lose your job very easily. And after that delay, to get things straightened out on Long Crest, the saddle and saddle pad of Edgar Prado, apparently all is well as they come toward the track.
Long Crest has had an eventful week. She lost her exercise rider the first day she came out to gallop here at Santa Anita. She didn't go very far, but hadn't been smooth sailing for her just yet.
This is a $1 million race for fillies and mares 3 and up, and they'll go on the grass at 1.25 miles. The filly and mare turf, the newest of the Breeders' Cup races. European runners have won just once in the 4 previous runnings of this race. Banks Hill in 2001 at Belmont. But this is the strongest contingent the Europeans have sent over here to contest the filly and mare turf. This is the race last year that Bobby Frankel ran 1-2 with Starine and Banks Hill. Number 1 is the Frankel horse Tate's Creek, named for a road in Lexington near the Juddmont farm. She's a half-sister to Sightseek, who was the beaten favorite in the distaff. This filly remarkably consistent on grass, first or second in 14 of her 15 starts. 1.25 miles stretches her limit, but she won at that distance in the yellow ribbon. Number 2 yesterday, the Beatles would appreciate this filly, named for their song, as was her dam or mother Jude. Irish trained and winner of the Irish 1,000 Guineas. Number 3 is Heat Hayes, the second Frankel trainee with Bailey up. She began her career in France, and since coming to the U.S. last December, she's won 4 of 6, including the Grade 1 Beverly D at Arlington Park. Number 4, Islington, third in this race last year with trouble early under her regular Irish jockey Kieran Fallon. Winner for the second straight year, the Group 1 Yorkshire Oaks. Her 3 losses this year were to some of Europe's best male runners. Number 5 is Mezzo Soprano, 3-year-old Godolphin-owned filly, who's won 2 straight with Frankie Dettori, including the Group 1 Prix d'Hermé at Longchamp. Number 6 is Musical Chimes. Neil Drysdale, Gary Stevens, trainer and jockey combination on this filly, who came from France to run in the yellow ribbon and was a fast closing second to Tate's Creek, as we mentioned earlier. Number 7, Voodoo Dancer, trained by transplanted Frenchman Christophe Clement, comes off a 3-month layoff, developing a sinus infection after beating Heat Haze in the Diana Handicap. Number 8 is Risk Averse. Pat Kelly trained 4-year-old filly who has only an allowance win in 6 starts this year, but does have some decent starts in Grade 1 company. Number 9, Megahertz, a $90,000 supplement, and the 3rd Frankel horse. She raced in France as a 2-year-old, but has won 7 races in this country and 4 of 6 over the Santa Anita turf. Number 10 is Dimitrova, reunited with Irish jockey Pat Smullen, who was her rider in Europe. It's his first time at Santa Anita. This is a 3-year-old filly who defeated her elders in the Grade 1 Flower Bowl at Belmont. Number 11 is Long Cress. That name indicates a resort area on the Channel Island of Guernsey. She came home second at 33-1 in the Irish Oaks, trained by champion Aidan O'Brien. And number 12 is Bien Nicole, 5-year-old mare who was raised mostly in the Midwest. The Richters who own her have a farm in Oklahoma. Winner of Keeneland's Windstar Galaxy. That's the field for the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf. And boy, things are looking pretty sad for Bob and Mike in the moment. I'm going with Kim Delaney's pick this time.
You know, I don't blame you. Kim's got more winners than both of us combined.
And she'd look a lot better on camera than we would as well.
Yeah. I think I could be out of a job.
12 horses, 1.25 miles on the turf. You could build this as Frankel versus Europe.
That's exactly right. And I like one of the Frankel horses. Actually, I like all 3 of them. I think that all 3 got a good shot. But I like Tate's Creek. There's a shot of her on the track. She's a winner over the track last time out. She loves the Santa Anita turf. 3 for 4 on the turf. I said the heat may wilt the Euro runners. It hasn't proven out so far. The Euro runners have run very well. Got Valenzuela. He's already won 1 race this afternoon, looking for another one in the Breeders' Cup. And she's got the tactical speed. She looks awfully strong to me in here. And she's a pretty good price right now at 5-1.
Mike, the fact that Musical Chimes, who was not that highly regarded in Europe, came over and ran a nice second, I believe it was to Tate's Creek in a recent Grade 1, leads me to believe that the top European fillies would probably do even better. That's why my pick is the Great Islington. And why? Because she's simply run with the best, the boys, the ones you're going to see later on in the Grade 1s, the Falbravs, the High Chaparrals, and like all of us today, trying to beat this searing heat here in Southern California. But on paper anyway, Mike, I think this is the best bet of the day. This horse has so much class that if she's okay, and I know she lost weight this week in the heat training up to the race, that she should be okay.
Well, let me give you one little stat, Bob. We've talked about Bobby Frankel. So far, he hasn't done the job. This is Bobby Frankel's horse. He's got 3 horses in this race. This is their record over the Santa Anita turf course. Combined, these 3 horses have raced here at Santa Anita 12 times. 9 times, 2 wins in a second. The rest of the field, only 3 starts without a win. Talk about a home course advantage. Bobby Frankel has the big home field advantage today in the filly and mare turf. Tom?
All right, Mike, and let's see what the Cyber Cappers think about this race. Mike is taking Tate's Creek. Bob is taking Islington, and the Cyber Cappers like Islington. Voodoo Dancer's their second choice, and Musical Chimes the 3rd selection. And Bobby Frankel hoping that one of his 3 can finally get him that Breeders' Cup win that he has so far missed out on today. There's a look at Heat Haze and the Juddmonte colors. One of the Frankel horses, Jerry Bailey, is riding Heat Haze. And of course, Tate's Creek. Tate's Creek, who won the Yellow Ribbon Stakes here at Santa Anita. We mentioned the unique downhill turf course at Santa Anita, and that stretch right there where they cross from the turf onto the dirt and then back onto the turf for the run by the stands. And when Tate's Creek was in the Yellow Ribbon, she kind of did a leap as she came over that dirt portion of the race. See her highlighted, and she'll make sort of a leap and then came home to just hold off Musical Chimes. Here, the final strides, and Tate's Creek getting through along the rail. And on the outside, look at Musical Chimes flying at the finish of this race. And it will be Tate's Creek that will just hold on to win.
The ironical thing about it is, Tom, that she had run over that turf course before, so she had seen it, she had been schooled over it, she had raced over it, and it's still the change in the surface from the grass to that dark dirt is enough to make them think there's a little something there they've got to hurdle.
Tates Creek at 5-1, and Islington is the 5-2 favorite at the moment.
We have not talked much about the Cybercapper's second choice Voodoo Dancer, and she's a filly that we ought to think about a little bit. She has not run since the Diana on the 26th of July. She's had 3 months off, but she's trained by Chris Clement, who is really very good at bringing horses up to a race like this, and she has had good strong gallops. He's worked her slowly because she puts so much into her gallops, but she's a very, very consistent mare and one to watch out for today.
Horses taking their warm-ups on the turf course, and there is where they will start. You see the gate behind those trees way up there and come down that turf course, and here's graphically what it looks like. They'll go 1.25 miles, come down the hill onto the course, and then once around to the finish, completing the 1.25 miles on the grass for that $1 million purse. And be interesting to see how the Europeans handle that little but Charles, see, the European horses are used to all sorts of configurations of different courses, are they? They should be able to take that in stride.
They are indeed. This, in fact, may even be more of an advantage to them. They're used to courses that undulate and that have dog legs and more than one turn, you know, on a straightaway. So they should be right at home with this course. Now, they're not used to seeing that dirt strip, so that might be more of an issue.
A shock to them. Again, things running just a little bit behind schedule because of the saddling problem with Long Cress. But they're getting close to the gate now for the filly and mare turf.
We noticed a little more sweat on these fillies as the temperature has begun to rise. We're up into the upper 80s now, but so far it has not affected anyone's performances.
Saw Voodoo Dancer, the 7 go in. There's Yesterday. And as the 12 fillies and mares load into the gate, Pete Hayes behind it in the Juddmonte colors. And Tom Durkin will have the unenviable task of trying to tell a difference between Tates Creek and Heat Hayes, who are wearing identical colors, what, except for the cap, right, Tom?
Yes, thank goodness for different colored caps, my friend. And there is Risk Averse moving into her post position number 8, and Megahertz, one of 3 trained by Bobby Frankel in this 5th filly and mare turf. Next to her will be Dimitrova. And it's a field of 12, and she is the runt of the litter. She's just a little thing from Ireland, but she can run. And there is Long Cress, who will move into the starting gate after she caused a little delay here in the proceedings this afternoon. And there is Musical Chimes. I should say mezzo-soprano, pardon me. Mezzo-soprano post position number 5 does in fact look a lot like the colors of Musical Chimes. Islington hoping for a little better luck in the trip this year. Steadied repeatedly in last year's journey in this race. There's mezzo-soprano with the brilliant Frankie Dettori aloft. And 2 more to load. Late running Musical Chimes and front running Bien Nicole. There's Bien Nicole there in those cranberry colors in the foreground. Musical Chimes, who really comes flying at the finish here. Actor / jockey Gary Stevens is aboard her. Final horse moving into line here. Bien Nicole, ready for the start of the filly and mare turf, and they're off. Bien Nicole breaking alertly from her outside post down toward the inside. Tates Creek is there. Islington gets a forward position. So too does Long Cress, Dimitrova, and Risk Averse. Off the hill, over the dirt, back to the main track. Bien Nicole seizes the initiative from the outside. Bien Nicole out to take the lead. Long Cress, Musical Chimes, very eager today. Musical Chimes up uncharacteristically close, and she is ranked. Now shuffled back into 3rd position. Then it's Risk Averse moving sweetly well 4th. Islington down toward the inside. She's trying to come off the inside now. Then farther back in the field, right there together, Dimitrova in the clear on the outside. She's running in 6th position. followed down toward the hedge by Tate's Creek. And in between those two, Mezzo Soprano, Voodoo Dancers in a bit of traffic here yesterday, followed by Heat Haze is second to last and 6 lengths back to Megahertz. Bien Nicole throws down the gauntlet, opens up 5 on them. The opening half mile in 46 3/5 seconds. Bien Nicole opens up 7 on the field into the backstretch run. Long Press runs along in second, and Risk Averse still on hold while running along in third. Musical Chimes is racing fourth, 10 lengths from Bien Nicole. And then on the outside, it's Dimitrova. In between horses, Islington running in 6th position. And then down to her inside, Tate's Creek now moving up a couple spots with a good move there. Then yesterday, down toward the inside in a tough spot, about 12 lengths from the lead. Voodoo Dancer launching a bid, followed by Heat Haze and Megahertz. They are still chasing Bien Nicole, and they're coming at her, and they're coming at her quickly. Here comes Lon Press, who's charging hard. Risk Averse is right there. Mezzo Soprano, Islington in behind the leaders and looking for a way off for running room, and Islington has got running room, but now does she have the run? It's Lon Press in front. Islington storming down the track. Here comes yesterday, slicing through in between horses. Islington under a rousing ride here by Karen Fallon. Islington with a short lead coming down to the line. Lon Press will be second best. Islington wins. No trouble at all. Won by an act. And it was Lon Press finishing second. It was a photo for third there between late running Heat Haze and yesterday. No trouble at all in terms of her trip this afternoon, but she did have a little trouble putting away a very stubborn foe in Lon Press. But Islington gets the victory this afternoon in the 5th Filly and Mare Turf.
All right, Tom, it was a couple of Irish breds battling down in the final strides of that race. Islington finally besting Long Cress, the 4-year-old filly besting the 3-year-old filly. Islington, owned by the estate of the late Lord Weinstock, trained by Sir Michael Stout. We heard from him before the race, and Kieran Fallon is the rider of Islington. It's the 3rd Breeders' Cup victory for Michael Stout, and Kieran Fallon gets the money on Islington, who had been running so well against colts in Europe, and comes over here and bests the other fillies and mares on the grass. Islington, they put up the supplemental money to make her eligible, and Kieran Fallon has his first Breeders' Cup win. Donna?
Karen, you just got your first Breeders' Cup win, and Frankie Dettori gave you a hug after the race. How special is this?
No, this is great. This is a race I've dreamed about since I started riding, and it capped it all really today, you know.
But this is really a team effort with you and the people. I mean, that's the way they do it in Europe, and it looks like everybody's worked hard on this effort.
Yeah, everybody, you know, and it's been a great season for the yard, you know. It's gone from strength to strength, and to be able to come here today and really pick up from last year, because we were very unlucky last year. We got chopped off early in the race, and I didn't get a position. Things went so well today.
Speaking of that, so you had a perfect trip today?
Unreal, yeah. Traveled just in behind, and the spits coming the straight. Couldn't have happened better.
When it got this hot, were you concerned?
Well, you're always a bit concerned, you know, because it's cold this time of the year at home, and they have to acclimatize, and she's only a week to do that, so she's done well.
Congratulations, Kieran. Go celebrate.
Well, Michael Stout was certainly concerned about the heat, but it didn't seem to bother Islington in the race anyway. Islington, who had so much trouble last year, finishing 3rd with trouble out of the gate and early in the race, gives Kieran Fallon his first Breeders' Cup victory. And one of Europe's best, Islington, the 4-year-old filly by Sadler's Wells from Hellenic by Darshan, bred in Ireland by the Ballymacall Stud Farm, takes the victory in the filly and mare turf, putting away Long Cress in the final strides. Another Irish-bred horse. Irish eyes are smiling today as they run 1-2 in the Breeders' Cup filly and mare turf.
Okay, everyone.
Islington in the winner's circle after the Breeders' Cup filly and mare turf. The placing judges took a long, hard look at the photo for show, and finally it was yesterday getting it over Heat Haze. And so Frankel's best finish this far today has been Heat Haze, finishing 4th. 3 favorites by Bobby Frankel have finished off the board. But Islington, the favorite, is the 2nd of 5 to win today. Meanwhile, on the backstretch, the horse ambulance leaving the track. Let's go to Donna for a report.
I talked to the vet, and he said he's not too concerned. He said he looked like she was just exhausted. It's Tate's Creek, Pat Valenzuela's mount. Just pulled her up after the race. It didn't look like anything that happened during the race, but the vet said he wasn't that concerned, that it just looked like she was exhausted. They're going to give her a free ride home.
All right, so Tate's Creek in the horse ambulance heading back to the stable area, and perhaps the heat getting the best of her. And the race official is Sir Michael Stout, leads the winner Islington into the winner's enclosure. Islington paying $7.80, the second favorite to win today. Long Crest was second. Yesterday was third. A $212 exacted payoff for the dollar bet. And Trevor, sure enough, when they crossed the turf to the dirt in that race, we saw several of them leaping the area.
They sure did. Nothing spectacular, but you could see a couple of them just a little apprehensive. In particular, Musical Chimes. That's her on the inside, number 6 on the inside with the blinkers right there. You see that little leap there, and horse right behind her as well did the same thing. That was in fact Islington. No major jump over it, but as I say, just a little apprehension. They were like, wow, what's this coming up here? They're getting steadied by their riders, and they didn't really break stride, but they just took that little leap there. So it definitely does have an effect on these horses crossing over the dirt. Talking about Musical Chimes, she was a little unlucky there. She really got killed coming to the quarter pole, hit the rail very hard, and that ended any chance that Musical Chimes might have had to win today's Breeders' Cup filly and mare turf. But a very, very good win from Islington. A perfect ride from Kellen Fallon. Again, a great trip through there today, and undoubtedly on the afternoon the best horse won. We'll never know how close Musical Chimes could have gone. Kenny?
Thanks, Trevor. Edgar Prado was aboard Long Crest, and at one moment he thought that he might be able to have this race and hold off Islington. And as you took a look back at it, you said, though, that Long Crest jumped a little bit, not much, but a little bit when you were coming around and crossed the dirt?
Yes, he did. He jumped a little bit, but I don't think that cost him the race, you know. He was running hard every step of the way, and just the winning was a little too much today.
All right. Good luck the rest of the way. Let's go back up now to Tom.
All right, Kenny. As Kieran Fallon dismounts from Islington, and Musical Chimes, we mentioned, had a rough trip today, as Islington did last year. Musical Chimes, number 6. Right there, you see jockey Gary Stevens having to check severely on the inside, and that pretty much cost Musical Chimes sort of a one-run horse anyway, losing all her momentum right there, and took a while to get her back into stride. And Chelsea, she never did look comfortable, did she?
That was the end of it right there when he had to snatch her up. I think that was Heat Haze that came over in front of her there, but she snatched up. She'd been very rank early on, and almost looked like she was going to hit the inside rail in the early stages of the race when Gary was basically just wrangling with her. So it was just a bad day for Musical Chimes, but a great day for Islington. It's poetic justice. She was so unlucky last year, and we see a Euro sweep of the top 3 places. And Tom, you know what this does? This really points out the turf race coming up, the mile-and-a-half turf, because Islington was right in a photo with 2 of the top horses in the turf. So we draw a line through the form to those 2 top colts, High Chaparral and Falbrov. I think we're going to see some more European good stuff coming soon.
I didn't know you were such a handicap.
Well, we have 2 experts down there. I won't, won't say anything.
Wait. I hope you didn't say experts. Let's go to Mike for the presentation.
All right, Islington, an impressive winner in the filly and mare turf. Peter Reynolds is here. Sir Michael Stout, the trainer, and Kieran Fallon, the rider. Great job, guys, to make the presentation on behalf of Alberto Culver is Dan Stone, Vice President Corporate Communications of Alberto Culver. With him, of course, is noted actress Bo Derek. And Bo, we have to say that Islington ran like a perfect 10 today.
I thought so. It was a really exciting race. It was great.
Dan, you do the honors.
On behalf of the people who make and market Alberto VO5, Tresemme, and St. Ives, congratulations on a great stretch run and a great victory.
Thank you very much, sir.
Guys, congratulations, and tell us a little bit about the trip. I know you already talked to Donna, but this horse really responded. Been running against the Colts. Probably should have won this race last year.